After everything that happened, over half a year passed in the blink of an eye. With the end of the Great Twilight, an armistice was declared on the second day of the Great War. Supreme Commander Van Dyke and Lieutenant General Bright worked together to minimize casualties during the negotiations. Meanwhile, the media reported that Emperor Eugen would return to the throne after recovering from his surgery. This was broadcast around the world, in tandem with the declaration that Calvert played no part in the assassination attempt. However, the truth only ended up plunging the empire into greater turmoil and spurred a storm of criticism from other countries. Amid the chaos, Governor Regnitz stepped in to try to bring the situation under control. He issued the order for Erebonian troops to immediately return to the empire. Many feared that Calvert might take this opportunity to strike back, but such fears proved to be unfounded. I can only assume it was because Calvert didn't want to take any chances against the far stronger Erebonian army. For the people of Erebonia, it was as if they had woken up from a nightmare. On the other hand, the people of Calvert began to criticize the empire all the more fiercely. Fortunately, due to the evacuation efforts on the first day of the war, civilian casualties were kept to a minimum. President Rocksmith, nearing the end of his term, made careful efforts to placate his citizens. However, he found himself under serious pressure from the new president-elect and was made to demand astronomical reparations from the empire. The provisional government in Erebonia, led by Governor Regnitz, was forced to negotiate. As part of the negotiations, he demanded that Calvert pledge to not invade Crossbell. Liberal, Remiferia, and the holy city of Arteria agreed, and jointly mounted pressure on the Republic to keep its troops within its borders. Reparations were eventually made, mostly funded by the Erebonian government, the Imperial family, the Reinford Group, and House Cayenne. As the Imperial army withdrew from Crossbell, discussions began between the Empire and Speaker McDowell. But the Governor-General's personal defense force refused to stand down and took control of the city themselves. Rufus condemned their actions from prison, but they refused to back down, and the threat of a Calvardian invasion began to loom. So, the Crossbell Guardian Force, formerly the Crossbell Military Police, worked with the citizens to devise a solution. And on the day of Arkansas's star-studded comeback performance, the Governor-General's defense force was quickly subdued by citizen volunteers, and Crossbell was free once more. At the heart of the operation were the officers of the Special Support Section, saving their country yet again. While foreign affairs were steadily heading in the right direction, Erebonia's domestic issues showed no signs of stopping. With the news of Chancellor Osborne's death, the nobles he had kept in check scrambled to reclaim their former power. Class warfare broke out once more, and though the imperial family tried to restore order, rumors of Prince Cedric's role in the Chancellor's warmongering caused their pleas to fall on deaf ears. The Crown Prince's mysterious disappearance only put them in a more difficult position. Just when things seemed their worst, Princess Alphen and the newly returned Prince Olivert engaged the public directly and sincerely. As a result, the imperial family slowly started to win back the people's trust the continent over. Meanwhile, news of Crossbell's liberation stirred talk of independence in Jirai and North Ambria. Some argued, however, that the 10 years Jirai had spent as an SEZ had bolstered its economy and reduced poverty. The issue is still hotly debated, and those in charge are monitoring the situation carefully for fear of more conflict igniting. Though Chancellor Osborne's right-hand man, Governor-General Rufus Albarea, was apprehended, Majors Lecter Arundel and Claire Revelt managed to avoid arrest. Not only that, but they remained at the Intelligence Division and the RMP, respectively, focusing their efforts on restoring order to their country. That said, both groups lost their position as government organizations, and underwent extensive restructuring. The Bracer Guild regained its former status in the Empire, and for the first time in 5 years, all its branches were reopened. High-ranking bracers from all over the continent helped to combat disorder and unrest within the Empire, according to certain classified information from the Guild. Prince Cedric, thought to be missing, had in fact become a member of Ouroboros. There are even rumors that he was made an enforcer, but that remains unverified. Meanwhile, after tirelessly aiding the other great houses, Governor Regnitz, and the Government Accountability Inspectorate for months, Acting Duke Eustace Alborea rejoined his allies for a journey to a certain place. Each of his friends had been busy restoring peace to their country in their own way, but now, with the embers of war finally cooled, they were able to meet once more.
A backup OZ-74 unit.
So your dad prepared this, Elisa?
That's right. He must have worked on it in the brief moments when he was himself. It couldn't have been an easy secret to keep from the Ebon Knight.
Your father was a great man.
Damn right. Can't be easy fooling someone who's in your head.
For real.
It seems like the mana inside is stable.
And it should be easy to work with such a pure soul as hers. We'll be right here to help whenever you're ready.
Go ahead, Eustace.
Come on, man. What are you waiting for? Now, bring out the sword. Right. Altina, you should help too.
Don't worry. I know it'll turn out just fine.
That's right, Allie. Be brave.
I will.
Everything's stable. This should work.
Adios, please.
Now'd be the time for a miracle. I'm sure we've got 1 or 2 left, right?
If you're listening out there, these kids need you.
The sword.
Where am I? Reen? Tilly? What are you guys doing here? Eustace? What gives? You look like you've seen a ghost. Wait, what happened? Last thing I remember,
William!
You're awake! Whoa, guys! What's gotten into you? Anyone want to tell me what this is all about?
It's kind of a long story.
So much happened while you were asleep.
But before we get to all that...
Welcome back, William.
Ah, I understand now. However, it seems the situation is slightly beyond the scope of our expectations. The seventh Anguis has been lost to us, while the second continues her leave of absence. Though perhaps the biggest surprise is that neither the Stalritter nor McBurn have returned.
Well, old McBurn's finally gone out on a journey of self-discovery. Little too late if you ask me, though. As for the Stalritter, it seems like they've decided to branch off on their own.
That's hardly a cause for concern. The second Anguis is a careful, calculating woman. She's sure to cooperate with the next plan. When she does return, I'm certain McBurn and the Stalritter will follow.
And perhaps even Blue Blanc and Luciola too. Though, I think it's safe to say Kruger's never coming back. That makes her the fourth total dropout after Louve, Joshua, and Ren.
We've gained quite the interesting little pawn in her place, though, wouldn't you say? The magic swelling in his ancient blood is quite something. A promising newcomer if ever we've had one.
I suppose. Though he still knows so little about the world, he might need a babysitter for quite some time.
Regardless, let us leave the enforcers to their own discretion. And take care that you do not follow the same path as the Faceless.
You all seem to hate my predecessor so much. I almost regret not being able to meet him.
Well, you've certainly filled his shoes in terms of personality, at least.
It seems all three of you have gathered.
So, you've arrived.
Welcome, O Grandmaster.
Maribel, you have done very well. You oversaw the completion of the Phantasmal Blaze plan and returned safely.
You're too kind. I merely laid the groundwork for the Witch of the Abyss and the Steel Maiden to work their magic. But what of the sept-terrions of fire and earth?
I have confirmed their disappearance from this plane. Unlike the sept-terrion of Mirage, they haven't vanished entirely. But as they are now, it is nearly impossible for them to fall into human hands once more.
Is that so?
I guess we can say things are still going smoothly then?
Indeed. Our plan continues apace. Vida's searching for a new path, in spite of her continuing faith in me. The heroic death of the proud Leanne Sandlot. McBurn, the former overlord of the Beyond, realizing the truth of his home. And even the departures of Joshua, Ren, and Sharon were all valuable parts of the process.
In short, everything that happens is within your knowledge and by your mercy. To be honest, it's simply incredible. Your very existence is akin to Ars Magna.
No, I am but a shadow. I exist solely to announce the appointed time to the world. The other Anguis may not be present, but I shall make this declaration here and now. The world has escaped the Great Twilight, extending its lifespan ever so slightly. 3 years yet remain, until all returns to primordial nothingness. The third stage of the Orpheus Final Plan, the Eternal Recurrence Plan, begins now.